welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Peggy.
Hello.
Sure, it's good to see you.
Hey, guys. Says a lot, doesn't it?
Oh my God, you can tell that all the other couples are not happy with Peggy and with George. And I'm surprised there wasn't as much backlash as I expected. I am really surprised. And I hope they feel very good about themselves, given the fact that they are, in my opinion, the responsible for the breakdown of Terence and Porscha. George having conversations with Terence is the reason why Terence felt the way he felt. I know Jordan was there, but I feel George is the main culprit, and I don't know what he gets from seeing Porscha go home, because she's gone home. What next? She's not in his marriage, and the fact that they were telling him, you need to grow up, oh my God, I get so wound up. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK Season 8, Episode 15. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. So you have Porscha, who's in a very happy space because she thinks she's addressed her issues with Terence in regards to the spin the bottle game, and they've managed to move on. She's happy with the way he handled the situation. I think she should have spoken to him more. And made sure that she had actually reassured him, because I think the whispering behind his back is what's making things worse, and people like George are the people that are making things worse for them. So I really don't like that. And then you have Ella and Nathaniel having a conversation, obviously, about George and his wife and the way they behaved the night before. And Nathaniel is right to say, George was out of order. Even Ella is justified in regards how she feels about her best friend, Peggy, being involved in the situation and having made the comments that she made. And then you also have Peggy and George having a conversation, and suddenly here comes the waterworks, the Karen waterworks, because Peggy then starts crying, oh, I feel like everyone was targeting me. And it's like, the reason why you are being targeted is because you and your husband came in targeting Porscha as though Porscha was the only person playing the truth or dare game. Why are you not going after the husbands? Why are you not going after the other wives? Why did you not ask Jay what she did in the game? Because she's the one who told you that Porscha kissed someone. Who did Jay kiss? Because Jay must have kissed somebody else as well. There's no way she'd sit there and watch Luke kiss somebody and her not do anything. So it's the double standard. The fact that George was very disrespectful and very derogatory towards Porscha, and nobody has said anything about him calling her a big shit. And everything he said, whether people chose not to read the subtitles or whether people just heard the French, blocked it out, didn't read the subtitles and moved on, I feel there should have been backlash in that regards. Porscha has her issues, but still George should have been held accountable for the words out of his mouth. And then we've got Peggy playing victim. She then takes a present to Ella and is like, the double stand. Oh, I would never say anything bad. She did say something bad about Ella. I wish they could play it back for Ella. I wish it could be brought up so that Ella can understand. I never said. I think the only reason why Peggy wants to apologize to Ella is because she's afraid of the backlash from the LGBTQ community. I think that's how I get it. I don't think she's apologetic in regards the comments that she's made. I think she thought she could say whatever she wanted to say and get away with it. But then because there was backlash, she's realized that, oh, if the other participants are this upset, what about the viewers? I'm going to be in a lot of trouble once I leave the show. So let me try and sort of clear myself out. And now she's leaving George out to dry. I don't get that. I really hate them as a couple. The fact that you had Terence sit down with George and Jordan didn't make sense to me. Of all the guys, it didn't make sense. I feel he should have spoken to Luke or even Thomas, someone who's neutral, or someone who's fully aware of what's happened, because the people that he's talking to have no idea about what happened. They have no idea of who Porscha is as a person because they don't spend that much time with her. And so for them to say, oh, it's cheating. Okay, do you? Let's see. The good thing about Married at First Sight is they will move on from Porscha and Terence, and they eventually will get to George and Peggy. So We have the commitment ceremony, and it's announced that Brad and Shauna have taken time apart. I think they saw that he was manipulating her. I think they were worried that there was emotional and psychological abuse taking place that they hadn't yet recorded because they don't have 24-hour surveillance. And I think this is why they decided to pull the plug on it before Shauna was drawn so deep she couldn't come out, and I say kudos to them for doing that. So the first couple called up one of my favorites, Ross and Thomas, and they're so cute. They're so cute. The way they were smiley, the way they were leaning towards one another. It's gone from Ross saying, "Oh God, I have to sit next to him, otherwise they'll tell me off," to her just sitting there and leaning on him, and it was cute to see the fact that they said that the intimacy exercises brought them closer. They've had sex. They've started to develop feelings. I said this before. I said as long as they're willing to do the work, as long as they're open to one another, they will be successful. And yippee, they seem to be doing very well. Next up is Bianca and JJ, and all I can hear is Candy from Real Housewives saying, "The lies, the lies, the lies," because you have JJ saying, "Oh, I've always gone for a type that's been, surgically enhanced," and Bianca obviously is totally different from that. So I'm trying to get my mindset right because I want something different because the surgically enhanced people have not worked for me. He's asked, "So do you like what you see?" And yes, I do. And yet he's said on his wedding day he was disappointed. So which is it? Are you disappointed or are you happy? Make it make sense. I think he told the experts what they wanted to hear. I wish the experts had replayed what he said during his wedding. I wish they'd rewatched it. I don't know whether they've chosen to turn a blind eye to it, but I don't like it. I like the fact that Bianca was able to speak up and say, there are certain things I want in a marriage and they don't seem to be here. So I'm worried that I might be wasting my time or I might friend zone him. I don't think he's serious about her. I think he wants to be on the show to promote his designs because he says he's a designer, but I don't think he's on the show because he wants to stay married to Bianca. I think he thinks the longer he stays on the show, the more publicity he gets, and that's the reason why he's on the show. He hasn't done or said anything that shows that he's remotely interested in Bianca, so I don't get what he's saying. Next up is my favorites, Tasha and Paul. They are very calm, they're very happy, they are in love, they like where they are, which is good. I like the fact that they don't let everything around them influence whatever they're doing. They might be the youngest couple, but they are just focused on one another. They're focused on their growth. They're not focused on what other people are doing. They always checking in on one another. So am I surprised that they said yes, they'll stay? No. It was to be expected. I don't think I would have expected anything different from Ross and Thomas or Tasha and Paul. They were both going to say stay. The ones I'm surprised about are Bianca and JJ, that they said stay. I thought JJ was going to write leave, but hey, it is what it is. Next up is George and Paul. And you can tell by the look on Tasha's face that she's not here for George. You can tell she's not here for George. I think she's pissed with him as well. Next up is Peggy and George. Am I the only one not buying the crocodile tears? I am sorry, but Peggy has decided to use her white female tears to try and get sympathy from everybody. Because when they were called up, nobody clapped, nobody made a sound. They were all making remarks behind their backs. And then suddenly she's on the couch and she's crying, "Oh, this has been the hardest week for us." Why has it been the hardest week? Because you decided to involve yourself in business that did not belong to you. You left your apartment knowing you're going to be pot stirrers. You got there, you stirred the pot. It fell on you, you burnt yourself, and now you're crying, "Oh, this week has been hard." It hasn't been hard, my love. You are the victim to your own sort of problems. So look at yourself and ask yourself, why are we here? Why? They both knew they were going to say stay, and they both wanted sympathy, and they wanted people to sort of feel sorry for them, and this is why she was crying. I don't buy Peggy's tears. I don't buy what she was saying, because she made nasty remarks when she was with Laura and Shauna because she didn't think the other girls would find out. And now that people have realized that she's just as bad as George, she's decided to cry and try and worm her way out of whatever crime she's committed. I don't like that. I wish they'd gone home. Next up is Bianca and Jordan. I think something... what am I going to say? Okay, something happened at their wedding that sort of changed Bianca's view on her husband, because when she walked up the altar, she didn't like the look of him. I remember her saying, we need to tweak this, we need to tweak that, and suddenly she's head over heels in love with him. Well, she's excited, she's, can't wait to go on a honeymoon with him, she's making out with him, they have sex, and I think her friends telling her that this was a great guy is the reason why she gave him a chance. And for her not to say that she was sort of worried when she first saw him doesn't make sense. Jordan was excited when he saw Bianca, there's no question about that. So I wish they had been honest about exactly what happened during their wedding ceremony or on their wedding day. But anyway, it seems they're in a happy place, so they both choose to stay, which is not surprising. And next up is Nathaniel and Ella. I think Ella and Nathaniel, their problem is always going to be Ella wants to make out and Nathaniel wants to wait until he's sure that this is the person for him. So this is what they brought up. He thinks she's now his best friend, and she doesn't want to be called a best friend because she's worried that that's where she'll stay. So she wants things to grow. And it's like, just relax and just leave it and just see where it goes. Don't force it. Don't force him to become intimate with you if he keeps telling you that you're in the friend zone. Allow yourself to stay in the friend zone. See how long that lasts. If you think it's not going to sort of grow from there, then move on. Anyway, the two of them chose to stay, which I wasn't surprised. I'm surprised they didn't say anything about Peggy. I think Peggy's tears got her out of trouble, because I feel Ella should have said, one of my best friends saying that I was in a friendship couple and I should go home is something that worried me the most. I think she should have said it, unless it was edited out. Next up is Arthur and Laura. Was I surprised that they said stay? No, because they've been apart for some time while Luke was unwell, and now that he's back to good health, it seems they've decided. I think Laura, looking around and seeing the other husbands that had there, she's realized Arthur's the best she could have had, and I think she's decided to give him a chance. They seem to be doing very well. They seem to really like one another. So am I surprised that they said stay? No. They haven't been problematic. I would have thought there would have been a lot more issues given how they started, but they seem to be in a good place, so I'm happy for them. Lastly, you have Terence and Porscha. What do I think? I think Terence was wound up by the conversation he had with Jordan and George. I think whatever they said to him got him primed and ready. I think he was willing to move on from whatever issues happened in the spin the bottle game. But because these guys kept telling him it was cheating, and he was now worried about everybody around him, thinking that, he had been played. And I think partly it was his ego that was bruised, because he's used to cheating in relationships. So the idea that someone could cheat on him, I don't think had ever dawned on him. And I think this is why he was very upset and he decided to call it quits on his marriage. I don't think he should have left. And I give it to Porscha to say, if we are leaving, then it's because you said you want to leave. It's not because I made that decision or I said that. And the reason why you're saying this is because your guys have told you she's cheated. I didn't like it. I'm surprised that George and Peggy didn't face as much backlash as I expected them to face, given their actions at the dinner party, how they steered all this up. And I wonder how they feel knowing that people have broken up because of them. The way George was sitting there, very smug and very all higher than, because he knew what Terence was going to say. He knew the conversations they had had with Terence. So he knew Terence was going to say he's leaving. So I wonder what he gets from that. And I really have this distaste for him and this great dislike for him, because I don't like how he's contributed to the failure of another relationship. I hope somebody does the same for him. I hope somebody tears his relationship apart the way he's responsible for the downfall of Porscha and Terence. I know they have their issues, but because he brought up the conversation to the dinner party and then had a conversation with Terence away from his wife, he is the last person who should have been involved in that 3-man conversation. He should have not agreed to it. And so the fact that he agreed to it and he sat there and he was smug as Terence was telling Porscha that he wants to leave, I don't get that. Porscha is not, innocent. Yes, she did what she did and she's taking responsibility for that. But I believe what she says, that, you know, Terence is only making this decision because people have encouraged him to make that decision. Had people not encouraged him, he would have decided to stay. And I feel sorry that they're both going home. Hopefully, once they take time apart and their heads sort of cool down, they'll be able to have a conversation and probably make up. But knowing Porscha, I don't think she's going to go back. I really don't. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in the back of my video for my review of episode 14. Bye everyone.